Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? I'm Andrew Finlay at Wildview Retreat. I'm a nutritional therapist here, and welcome to Nutrition Soundbite number 2. The previous video was about carbohydrates. This video is about fats. As you know, it's one of the essential macronutrients. You have fats, carbs, and protein. All three absolutely essential. And as you know, I should know by now, nutrients are essential for life and growth. So without them, you don't feel too good. Eventually, you develop deficiency, then you get sick, and then you ultimately end with a chronic disease and potentially death. So you have to make sure that you get a good quality fats, carbs, and proteins into your diet. So we talked about carbs in the previous video. This time, it's about fats. And fats are not your enemy, ladies and gentlemen. Fats are not your enemy. For too long and for so long, we've been told that fat makes us fat, and it's an absolute lie, and you should not believe it. It's created a multi-billion-dollar food industry, the low-fat, no-fat industry, and just forget about it. What's made us fat is simple carbohydrates that turn from glucose into fat. That's what's making us fat, too many simple carbohydrates. So you want to be eating as much healthy fat as you can. And I categorically can say and tell you now that if you eat good quality, healthy fats on a regular basis, you'll be improving your brain function, your heart function, you'll be improving your immunity, and most importantly, you will also be losing weight as well. So you can lose weight if you eat good quality, healthy fat, because that means you'll be fuller for longer, along with good quality protein, and you'll avoid reaching out for the crappy carbs. Okay, so functions of fats, very, very quickly, just if you aren't already aware. Critically important for brain function. 60% of our brain is made up of fat. So if you haven't got enough fat in your food, into your blood, then you're going to be struggling with brain fog and energy levels generally. The brain is struggling generally and not being able to remember things, cognitive decline. So you need to get good quality fat into your brain. The other thing is heart, absolutely critical for heart health. Bad fats, obviously not good for heart. Good quality fats do the absolute opposite and change and improve your heart function, your blood flow, and reduce your risk of atherosclerosis and plaque buildup. So good quality fats are essential for your heart. The other critical thing is that without fats, you cannot get fat-soluble nutrients into your blood. And I'll say that again, you cannot get vitamins A, D, E, and K, with fat-soluble vitamins, into your system without fat. Okay, so we need to be eating fat, good quality fat, in order to be able to absorb those nutrients. And if you don't, you just won't get those nutrients. Okay, fat is also incredibly important for so your liver can create cholesterol, which is really important. Really good quality cholesterol will then allow you to produce vitamin D, and also your hormones. Your hormones are essential for balanced personality. Things like testosterone, cortisol, estrogen. All of the essential hormones that regulate the way you function, absolutely critical on fat. And obviously, we all know that fat is an incredibly important source to protect our organs. That's why fat tends to build up around our body organs, to protect them, and also as a fuel reserve if we ever go into starvation mode. So, ladies and gentlemen, fats is absolutely critical, and you need to be consuming it on a daily basis. So what are they? You have saturated fats, you have unsaturated fats, mono and poly unsaturated fats. The most important thing for you to be aware of is that the saturated fats are the ones that tend to be more stable when at room temperature. They're basically a more solid form. Okay, and then you have the other ones, which, well, especially when it comes to cooking, they are more liquid. Okay. And those are the ones that you don't potentially want to cook with. So when it comes to cooking, you want to be cooking with the more stable fats like coconut oil, butter, ghee, things like that. Okay, but when it comes to consumption, typically it's the saturated fats that are causing the problem. Okay, it's okay to have a little bit of saturated fat, but not all the time. All right, so lower your saturated fat content. And the best way you can do that is to minimize or eliminate dairy, cheese, and milk on a daily basis. Just have it sparingly. And also meat. Rather than having meat every day, maybe just rather than spending that money that you would spend on meat every day, change to have one piece of meat every 2 weeks and make it organic. That is the best way to get good quality saturated fat in. So what are they? So you have butter, you have cheese, you have eggs, you have halloumi here, you have coconut oil, you have kefir. Regarding the cheese, I wouldn't normally have it in my fridge, but if I didn't, my wife would divorce me. Having been brought up in Italy, she absolutely requires mozzarella and parmesan, so we have a little bit of that, and that's absolutely fine. Regarding dairy, we no longer have dairy as in milk in the fridge. We don't sort of put it on things constantly, but I will have a little bit of kefir, which is fermented milk, which is excellent for gut health, which we'll talk about another time. And I cook with coconut oil, and I have plenty of eggs, because eggs also contain choline, which is a really, really important micronutrient. So I have these sparingly these days, okay? But they're not your enemy. You should have a little bit of this. Then it comes on to your unsaturated fats. Unsaturated fats basically mean the difference between the two is that you have mono and poly, whereas mono have a single double bond, whereas the poly have the double bonds. So that's not really that important. It's just really important that you get this stuff in. What have we got here? We've got olive oil. We've got tahini. Tahini is basically sesame seeds that's been made into this amazing paste, and it's super delicious. Avocados, flax seeds, olives, sesame seeds. We have walnuts here, almonds, olives, chickpeas, Brazil nuts, excellent quality fat, full of micronutrients as well. Sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, and then you move on to the polyunsaturated fats here that have omega-3 as well, which I'll talk about in a second. One thing to remember is that most of the time fats are not just one or the other. They normally tend to have a little bit of poly, a little bit of mono, a little bit of saturated in, and it's just important to be aware of that because there's a lot of crossover. But these are generally the fats that you need to be consuming on a daily basis in order to improve your immune function, improve your brain health, reduce your risk of heart disease, and also lose weight as well. Regarding the salmon, we always have a little bit in the freezer. I really like these trimmings. Super, super cheap. Just throw them into stuff. And if you're not getting oily fish 3 or 4 times a week, then I would recommend a really good quality fish oil supplement with high EPA and DHA content, the likes of Wiley's Finest Alaskan Fish Oil or Nordic, or one of those ones from a good quality health store, not from Boots or Superdrug or Holland Barrett, etc. So guys, nuts, seeds, olive oil, salmon, avocados, chickpeas, get it all in daily basis, and then on a less frequent basis, you can have your saturated fats, but very, very infrequently. As you can see, none of this has got your hydrogenated processed fats like the margarines and the palm oils that are processed that go into cakes, cookies, biscuits. All of that are incredibly dangerous, toxic, and will reduce all this, will reverse all this good work that you're doing to your heart with all this good stuff. So more of this, less of the processed stuff. All right, join me next time for soundbite number 3, which will be all about protein. Cheers.